Hey, 520. Happy Sunday night. Sorry it's a little later than normal. We had family over, and they stayed longer than I thought they would, which is great. So wanted to just go through week 3 announcements and just go over a few points. First, though, week 2 went really well. Your discussions are very robust, and so it's really good. And I did enjoy grading, going through your papers for your philosophy, and know that with the philosophy assignment, it makes sense that you're using a lot of personal pronouns. Just know that as you move forward in academic writing, you don't want to use personal pronouns for the most part unless you're giving your opinion. And then also utilize the writing resources in the writing center within the library. A few of you are struggling with APA, and it's really important to get that down early in your program. I know most of you are only in your second class, but that is a really a non-negotiable as far as instructors are are told that we have to check APA and make sure it's done right. So make sure you're getting all your citations right and using APA formatting with your title page and your references page and all that good stuff. And if you need help, you can always reach out to me, but your writing center right over here, when you go to your writing center, is going to be a huge help. You can actually even submit your paper, and live tutors will go over it and get it back to you. So make sure you're using those resources. So starting this week with another quote: "We are all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it. That's all." And that's from Andrew and the Breakfast Club. It's a great 80s movie. I'd love to say you guys are all 80s kids, but I know some of you are much younger than I am, and some of you are right in that sweet zone as well. So it's a great 80s movie, and it actually has a lot of good points and points out something not only societal but for education. So, but it's a great movie. This week we're going to keep looking at curriculum design and looking at certain factors and how those factors influence the whole process. There's a lot of content this week. There's a lot of videos though, and so as you can see right here, chapter 5. Once again, the text it's a little brutal, but you got to go through it. There's a lot of heavy content in there. It's great, and all these videos are phenomenal. Dan Pink writes the book Drive, which is a really good. It's kind of a business book, but it's really good for educators to read. So I'd highly recommend that. I'll bounce over to the discussion board questions and look at them inside of there. And so really this week you have your 2 discussion questions and you have a group project. So groups have been assigned, and so you can go in and start working on that. Once you guys connect, have one person start the Google Doc or the Google slideshow and just share it out. And then that way you guys can get working on it. And that's the easiest way to do it. Make sure everyone has editing rights. And then moving forward next week, you have a chapter in the book. And you have one big assignment, which I'll go through. It's actually not big, but one assignment I'll go through. So once again, going through the week, all the links are right there for you. The discussion board questions and the group collaborative assignment, which I'll go over in a minute. So that's week 3. A lot of content, but not a lot of heavy work. But you do have your group presentation. So the first one is motivating factors in societal foundations. And really what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at chapter 5 in the book, and then you're going to respond to one of the questions in depth or a couple of them in less detail. And I would say in the past, I've taught this course a few times. The people who choose just to respond to one in depth seem to have an easier time with it, but whatever works best for you. And so how does the culture you create in your classroom work to motivate your students? Where do your motivation factors and moral education intersect? Or when looking at your students' many and varied home situations, how does your motivation come into play, and what extent do you see this as the teacher's role or responsibility? So there's a lot that those are not light questions for sure, but they do spurn great discussion. So once again, pick one and really spend the bulk of your time on one or hit on all 3 of them. It's really up to you. The second question, you're going to submit your group presentation link so other people can look at it. So only one person has to submit it, and then make sure that people can see it, right? Make sure you have, when you share the link, that it's viewed so people can view it, so they don't have to request access. And you don't have to post responses to this. As long as one person in a group has posted it, it's fine. You guys can go back and forth, but you don't have to. So really, there's only one discussion this week where you really have to post and do responses, but this one you have to do the initial post to get the link. So assignment 3 is a group assignment, and you're going to put together a slideshow using Google Slides. And I don't have to read through this whole thing because you guys can read. You're in a master's level course, but it's on character or moral education activity. And so what you're going to do, title slide, you're going to go through and just answer all these questions, piece by piece. What is an obstacle or challenge that students might face? You can do it kind of education-wide. You can do it for a school. You can do it for one classroom. It's really up to you guys. You got to have some definitions on slides. You don't want to get too wordy. Remember that. The more images, the more video you can have. Usually that's better. As long as you have enough content and depth there, to support that. So what's an activity or assignment that the students could do? It gives you 4 slides walking through it. What kind of proactive steps will you take? What is your outcome? You can start with that. You can end with that. It can be somewhere in the middle. You can start and end with it. You can duplicate it a few times. And then, a conclusion slide. And it says find a fitting quotation that sums up the important. You can find a quote. You can find a clip from a movie. You guys can come up with your own quote. It's sort of like a mantra or a motto, right? So for your sources, you don't have to put them on the actual slide. Use your notes. I've said this a couple of times, I think, in this class already, is make sure you're using your notes section. I would prefer that you would put your references in your notes section. And then also, to keep your slides clean, put what you would actually say in your notes section. So you don't have to put as much information on your slide, because I want this to be made like you're actually presenting it. So there you wouldn't put the text that you're going to talk about on the slide. You would, do the bullet points or the video or short sentences or whatever it may be. And so you can actually, use quotes, or you could put an outline of what each person would say during that slide on the notes section. If you guys want to go as far as to record audio and embed that in the slide, you could do that as well. You don't have to. That's just one little thing you can do. And then make sure that you're uploading it in the right way. You're uploading in the submission for the assignments Dropbox, and you're also putting it on discussion question 2. And so that is your first group assignment. It's worth 40 points, so it's a good chunk. And then looking ahead, you have an essential question assignment due week 4. And what that's going to do, it doesn't seem like that big of an assignment. It's only 5 points. But this essential question is going to be the basis for what multiple projects you're going to be moving forward. So make sure you put some time onto this. And if once again, you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. So that is it for week 3. Last couple things I would say is, 1, if you're still struggling with how to submit papers the right way, reach out to me. And 2, once again, make sure you're looking at the rubrics, because that's how everything's going to be graded. And finally, make sure you understand APA. That's going to be important not only for this class, but for your whole program moving forward. Have a great week 3, and if you need anything, please reach out.